All right, greetings. Welcome back to Blackbird News, where everything is connected. How are you all feeling? Good to see you. Thanks for hanging out today and every day on the internets with me. All right, lots of faces in the chat already. Rockfinners, I see you. Starting off the day with a tip on Rockfin from Urban Hermit. Thank you. Says, enjoy the coffee, Kevin. Thanks, man. Thanks, Urban Hermit. And we're live on Callin. Callin is a pretty cool app where you can listen as a podcast and call in. You should try it out sometime. It's all good. Generally, I like to take calls at the end of the show. Because I like to cover some stories first and kind of get warmed up and kind of, get into a subject or a topic, and then we can talk a little bit later in the show. Anyways, time's a wasting, and we're all here. And I guess we'll start with this, which is, well, there's been a lot of signals. Not like we haven't talked about this before, but this is an ongoing story, but there are a lot of signals that we're about to hit 1.5 C, which was supposed to be the guardrail, which we could not pass. And it's an unfortunate fact that this is not a guardrail that's going to be obeyed by nature. Nature doesn't, we made up this guardrail. And the guardrail isn't really based on science, is it? Right? We said there's this guardrail, but if you say something like, there's a guardrail in nature that we have to respect, I mean, well, that right there is a laughable idea. We spent the last few centuries disrespecting nature's guardrails, right? In order to get here. In order to get here, we were like, what's up, nature? What you gonna do about it, huh? We're gonna take all your stuff, cut down all your trees, foul your oceans. Here's some microplastics. How about some pesticides? Hey, nature, how you feel about that? We spent a long time disrespecting all the guardrails, but when it came to 1.5 C, supposedly we were, there was a guardrail and we were supposed to respect it, or nature was supposed to respect it, or somebody was supposed to respect it. I don't know. It's just a silly idea. It was a laughable idea in the first place because the guardrail didn't have anything to do with science. If you understand that the heat from the amount of CO2 we have put into the atmosphere hasn't even been realized yet, then that guardrail is an imaginary, something, an imaginary line that we've, in concept, in theory, and in physics have already crossed. We've already crossed the line. We just haven't arrived at the point in which we're realizing the latent heat that we have already put into the atmosphere, that's already in the oceans, that's about to come out, and with a very angry tone. I don't like your tone, oceans. I don't like the way you're putting on the heat out in the atmosphere, oceans. I'm very offended. Okay, oceans. I'm about to call you. I think the oceans are fascist. That's what I think. Anyways, but there's been a lot of admission. Let's cancel the Pacific Ocean. Indeed, yeah, yeah. Pacific Ocean can't get hired for a job anymore because said some things we don't like. Indicated that maybe the powers that be weren't treating it properly, so we decided that the Pacific Ocean is a domestic terrorist, most likely racist, certainly transphobe, and we don't like it anymore, and we're going to cancel the Pacific Ocean. So there you go. Yep. But they're starting to kind of come around to admitting that we're about to be here. Being 1.5C, our overheating world is likely to break a key temperature limit for the first time over the next few years, scientists predict. I predict. Oh, what was the band? What was that band? Oh God, it's on the tip of my tongue. Remember that song? I predict. I predict. I'll eat a bowl of chow mein and be hungry real soon. I predict. Oh, what was that band? Anyways. Anybody? Oh dang, there's a sound again. Man, my sound is doing a really weird thing. Sorry for the wavy sound, guys. It's not, I don't know what's going on. I've got wavy sound. I imagine it's StreamYard. Sparks, thank you. I knew Osama would know it. The Sparks. That's right. That's a pretty good song. Anyways, but all the things that they're saying about it are fairly ridiculous. Yeah. Fairly silly, right? Research, they said it was a small chance, and then it was a medium chance, and now it's a medium large chance. Researchers say there's now a 66% chance we will pass the 1.5C global warming threshold between now and 2027. That's pretty soon, don't you think? Chances are rising due to emissions from human activities and a likely El Nino weather pattern later this year. So this is a very uninformative sentence. This sentence actually kind of does a good job of making you think like, because we keep putting out emissions, we're going to hit the 1.5C. No. Because we put out a lot of emissions 20 years ago, we're going to hit 1.5C, and there's no escaping it. There's no way to avoid it. We are not going to avoid 1.5C going past it, or 2 for that matter, or 3 for that matter. We're not avoiding any of those things. Why? Because the emissions we already put out are going to bring us to that point. The stuff we're putting out now, that's just frosting on the cake. That's just, how about some more? Right? That's just another helping. That's just another, that's a wafer thin mint for the guy in the Monty Python skit who's like, "Got me a bucket." Remember that skit? And I couldn't eat another bite. How about a wafer thin mint? That's, we're just giving the world a wafer thin mint so that the world can do its thing in a bucket. Anyways. What we have already put into the atmosphere is what is going to bring us to 1.5C, to 2C, to 3C. So we're stopping emissions now won't be the end of the climate change party. It's probably going to be even more mayhem than that. We got to do something. I don't know what. We're going to have to do something absolutely completely different, if we even have a snowball's chance in hell. And that's what they don't want to tell you in this article. What they will not tell you in this article. And I know what I'm saying is very harsh. I know it sounds very scary. I understand that. I get it. I wish this to not be a real thing. If somebody can prove to me that's not a real thing, I will be so very happy to listen and go, oh, sounds good. But again, all of this is to make it seem like we have time, make it seem like we're going to avoid disaster, make it seem like everybody can just continue doing the things they're doing, but maybe just do it a little better, like buy better light bulbs or buy a better stove or, stop driving, diesel cars, whatever it is. They're going to make you think that you can, buy a better car, you just make lifestyle changes and everything's going to be all right, but we can keep going because they don't want you to stop buying things and doing things and going to work and buying gas. They don't want you to stop doing that. They don't want everybody to sit down and go, crap, this is not working, right? They just do not want that moment from the population. So they really want to make you think like, well, it's pretty bad, but, energy is online. Well, we'll be okay. Anyways. But passing the level in the next few years would not mean that the Paris limit has been broken. No, not at all. Scientists say there's still time to restrict global warming. What did I tell you? By cutting emissions sharply. Yeah. Well, that's about all I'm going to read of this article because that whole article is full of nonsense. And some people think that we're beyond 1.5 already. And that could be another conspiracy, I guess. It's a conspiracy theory on some levels. But on some levels, we are above 1.5 C in certain regions of the planet. We're just waiting for the other regions to catch up. But some people think we might be even warmer than 1.5 already. I don't know. I'm not, I don't know. Anyways, here's an article I thought was, humorous. Fossil fuel companies should pay trillions in climate reparations. Sure. Sure they should. 21 top polluting companies should pay $5.4 trillion over 26 years to compensate for climate damages. Well, yeah. I mean, they should. I don't object to the idea. But where do we even begin with this kind of farcical idea? That, there's, we only have money for bombs. Guys, we only have money for war and for new technology that's going to make us money. Paying reparations to people, who's going to pay for it, for one? Where is this money going to come from? $5 trillion is a lot of money. And are they really going to be good with paying that? Do they have, granted, they're making money hand over fist. Billions of dollars in profits every year, but do you think that they're going to, do you think they're going to part ways with those profits? Let those profits slip from their grubby, greedy little hands to pay people who've been impacted by climate change? Do you think that's going to happen? That would also rely on the idea that we actually acknowledge that, we're in a bad place, we're in a bad state, that things actually need to be dealt with, that we're actually going to stop the train of destruction and do something different. And there are no signs of that happening at all. But let's keep going. Where was it? I was just reading something. Sorry about that. Sorry for the scrolling, guys. In a peer-reviewed paper published Friday in One Earth, researchers used data on emissions tied to the world's 21 top polluting companies to determine just how much, and landed on a total of $4.5 trillion over a period of 26 years. The largest sum would come from Saudi Aramco, Saudi Arabia's state-owned oil company, which would be responsible for $1.1 trillion, or $42.7 billion per year. I'm sorry. Okay. Followed by Russia's state-owned Gazprom. I mean, come on, man. It's just silly. I mean, it's, it's great. I have no problem with the idea and for talking about it, right? No idea is, really a bad thing to kick around, if it's not a complete waste of time, but this might be a waste of time. I don't know. What do you think? I think this is kind of a waste of time because it's not going to happen, but okay. Just like, George Bush and Dick Cheney should be arrested for crimes against humanity and held, put on trial at The Hague. You think that's going to happen? Hell no. They should be, though. I mean, that's real. Followed by Russia's state-owned Gazprom, ExxonMobil, Shell, BP, and Chevron. Those 6 companies earned more than $354 billion in profits last year, a record high total. A record high total. Anyways, glad you guys found the money and the time to do this study. The money might have better been spent by figuring out how we're going to figure out how to tell people what's really going on the planet. And I don't know. Maybe have, put some money on a committee who could figure out like a real way out of this mess. I'm not sure. Did we talk about this already? I felt like we did, but who said recycling was green? It makes microplastics by the ton. I feel like we talked about this, but I just wanted to hit it again, I guess. A study finds one plastics recycling plant in the UK produces as much as 3 million pounds of microplastics a year, and that's with filtering. You can't win, man. You think you're you think you're recycling and you think you're helping the world, and then you find out that the thing that you're doing to help the world is actually producing the byproduct of the thing you're doing is hurting the world. Research out of Scotland suggests that chopping, shredding, and washing of plastic in recycling facilities may turn as much as 6 to 13% of incoming waste into microplastics. Tiny toxic particles that are an emerging and ubiquitous environmental health concern for the planet and people. You want macroplastics or you want microplastics? You want a big plastic bottle in your meal in the middle of your plate, or do you want some microplastics sprinkled on top? How do you want it? Have it your way. A team of 4 researchers measured and analyzed microplastics in wastewater before and after filters were installed in an anonymous recycling plant in the UK. The study, one of the first of its kind, was published in May issue of a peer-reviewed journal of Hazardous Material Advances. It's a hell of a title. If the team's calculations are ultimately found to be representative of the recycling industry as a whole, the scale of microplastics created during recycling processes would be shocking. perhaps as much as 400,000 tons per year in the United States alone, or the equivalent of about 29,000 dump trucks of microplastics. The study suggests that rather than helping to solve plastics contribution to what the United States has described as a triple planetary crisis of pollution, climate change, and biodiversity loss, recycling could be exacerbating the problem by creating an even more vexing conundrum. Dang. Well, maybe we should stop. Here's an idea. Stop consuming the thing in the first place. Stop buying things, if you can, I don't know. Demand that things don't come in plastic. Stop buying things that are wrapped in plastic, made with plastic, et cetera, et cetera. Try. I know it's hard. And maybe we could be a lot more vocal about not having everything packaged in plastic. Maybe we could boycott, say we're not going to do it anymore. Just stop it already. Hit them where it hurts. You know that boycotts actually work. It was a thing that people used to do back in the day, boycotting. It'd cripple a company's income. And they'd be like, oh, geez. We got to stop this boycott right now. What are we going to do? We're losing all our money. More fun from the Biden administration. The super not fascist, not super democratic, and super compassionate for all the people of the world Biden administration. From David Sirota, you cannot make this up. They were trying to run oil trains through an accident-prone canyon on the banks of a river that 40 million people rely on for water. What could possibly go wrong? I mean, this seems like something that, old Trumpy would do. But no. And if Trump were to do it, people would be like, "Oh my God, he's a madman. He has gone crazy." And you would be right to say that. You would be absolutely, in your right minds to say, like, yes, this madman is going to poison the planet. But because it's old Joe Biden, old Jim Crow Joe, it's fine. Biden admin boosts Big Oil's Colorado River scheme. Or maybe you don't even notice because Joe Biden's not in office, so you don't have to be scared of the orange guy. The orange guy's gone, so everything's fine, and we're back. We got democracy's back, baby. And so you don't even notice. You don't even notice he's doing stuff like this. And that's the point. Permit approvals for oil trains came despite derailments. Now Pete Buttigieg could subsidize the scheme with special tax breaks. In the parched Southwest, 1 in 8 Americans rely on a single drought-stressed river that carries snowmelt from the Rocky Mountains. Guess what it is? Guess which one it is? But instead of strengthening protections for that crucial water supply, the Biden administration has quietly laid the groundwork for a financial firm full of government officials to use it as a route for oil trains amid heightened concerns about derailments. This spring, the project's backers took the initial steps. So for all the people that are like, those Ohio, I can't even say the word, Ohioans. Those Ohioans, man, they deserved that train derailment in East Palestine because they voted for Trump. They deserved it. Oh, but what about Colorado? What about Biden doing this? Didn't Biden squash the strike? Didn't Biden's squashing of the strike, which included, making sure that there were safety precautions, didn't that contribute to the thing that happened in Ohio? It had nothing, actually, maybe it had something to do with Trump, but it also had something to do with Biden too. It had nothing to do with just because they voted for Trump. In Colorado, they're pretty democratic in Colorado, right? It's a pretty blue state. But like most states, it's also very purple. But it's kind of blue. It's kind of red sometimes. But Colorado, fairly blue. But it doesn't really matter because the Biden administration's like, go right ahead. It's fine. No, it's fine. Got Pete Buttigieg is going to make it okay. Instead of strengthening protections. Oh, well. Anyways. This spring, the project's backers took the initial steps to apply for special transportation department bonds subsidized by tens of millions of dollars and annual tax breaks. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, I can't say his name, a former McKinsey consultant who has previously touted such bonds, is under pressure from Democratic lawmakers, local communities, and environmental groups to deny the bonds, but has remained, what? Silent. Mum's the word. Say no more. Meanwhile, the firm at the center of the project has never successfully developed a major infrastructure project, though it says it's leveraging a proprietary set of relationships. That sounds good, doesn't it? Its executives built during their time in government, according to the corporate documents reviewed by the Lever. As climate change jeopardizes the American West tenuous water supplies, the Utah project, which already received federal permitting approval, is audacious. It aims to run trains full of petroleum from northeast Utah's Uinta Basin along the banks of the Colorado River as it winds through treacherous canyons prone to rock slides and mudslides. No, dear God, please don't. Please make it stop. Please don't let it happen. God, please. Critics say those hazards could easily trigger derailments, spilling crude oil into the water that millions of Americans living downstream need to survive. Please, just stop. Just stop building it. I got an idea. Let's build some more stuff. I got an idea. How about some more oil infrastructure? I got an idea. How about another highway? I got an idea. How about some more cars? Stop it. Just stop, man. Just take a breather. Relax. Chill. Fuck. Just. How about no more stuff? How about a moratorium on stuff? How about, taking a break from stuff? Try it. Try it today. It's pretty good. If issued, this would not only constitute the largest private activity bond the Department of Transportation has ever issued, it would also irretrievably sink taxpayer dollars into a project that has proven unable to contain its own costs. Oh, Lord. The new railroad would give Uinta Basin oil producers access to refineries and export infrastructure on the Gulf Coast, which they claim would allow them to sell their oil at a higher price and increase production by up to 350%. All right, projected, according to the project's environmental impact statement. Yay! Increase production by up to 350,000 barrels per day. Oh, it's a geyser. If the project is completed and spurs increased oil production as developers promise, environmental groups say it would create a carbon bomb, increasing U.S. carbon emissions by an estimated 1% annually. How's that 1.5 guardrail doing? Huh? Guardrail. We're going to avoid it. Look at us avoiding the guardrail. Look what we're doing. We're doing everything. Actually, we're not doing anything. Guardrail. These people they're funny is what they are. They are full of jokes. All right. Well, let's look at this one. Yeah, I know. It's not. Where's the good news at? I don't know. Wars the U.S. waged in Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, Yemen, and Pakistan following September 11th caused at least 4.5 million deaths. Should we give those people reparations? And displace 38 to 60 million people. Should we give them reparations? Who's going to pay for it? We made all of our money actually making the war. You want us to pay pay the people? We already got paid, sucker. We're out of here. Displaced 38 to 60 million people, with 7.6 million children starving today, according to studies by Brown University. So that's a legacy of democracy. We gave them some democracy, and so much better now. Remember I was talking about the story of the several thousand immigrants in the north of France trying to get to the UK. Where did most of them come from? Iraq and Afghanistan. So there's the legacy, right? and a lot, many people say the same thing about the people trying to get to the U.S. on the U.S.-Mexico border. Many of them come from countries that our policies helped destroy. And then they show up at our doorstep looking for reparations. And we're like, no way. We told you not to come. But that's, but at least we got democracy. That's good. All right. Climate Watcher. In a lot of the world, the clock has struck midnight. We're not the only big bad jerks, swaggering around, keeping schools open. Anyways, China is calling in loans to dozens of countries from Pakistan to Kenya. The China with the Belt and the Road, the Belt and the Road, the Road and the Belt, and they're trying to give people stuff. I guess it also comes with strings attached. Maybe they're not. Just here to help. In a lot of the world, the clock. China is calling in loans. I wonder why. Dozen poor countries are facing economic instability and even collapse under the weight of hundreds of billions of dollars in foreign loans, much of them from the world's biggest and most unforgiving government lender, China. We're not alone in doing this kind of garbage to countries. We do it too, right? The IMF, the World Bank, the World Monetary Fund, whatever you want to call it. That's the IMF, International Monetary Fund. Let me get it straight. An Associated Press analysis of a dozen countries most indebted to China, including Pakistan, Kenya, Zambia, Laos, and Mongolia, found paying back that debt is consuming an ever greater amount of tax revenue needed to keep schools open, provide electricity, and pay for food and fuel. As draining foreign currency reserves those countries use to pay interest on those loans, leaving some with just months before that money is gone. Oh, good Lord. Guys, if this is really going down and they're going to continue doing this, we're looking at some economic insecurity in the future worldwide. Behind the scenes, China is reluctance to forgive debt and its extreme secrecy about how much money it has loaned and on what terms, which has kept other major lenders from stepping in to help. On top of that is the recent discovery that borrowers have been required to put cash in hidden escrow accounts. It pushed China to the front of the line of creditors to be paid. Wow. Did you know this? I didn't know this. Now you know. Countries in AP's analysis had as much as 50% of their foreign loans from China, and most were devoting more than a third of government revenue to paying off foreign debt. Two of them, Zambia and Sri Lanka, have already gone into default. Wow. Unable to make even interest payments on loans financing the construction of ports, mines, and power plants. Well, that's not good. I thought China was just a friendly entity, just here to help. In Pakistan, millions of textile workers have been laid off because the country has too much foreign debt and can't afford to keep the electricity on and machines running. In Kenya, the government has held back paychecks to thousands of civil service workers to save cash to pay foreign loans. The president's chief economic advisor tweeted last month, salaries or default, take your pick. It's not a choice. Since what kind of choice is that? That's dumb. Since Sri Lanka defaulted a year ago, 500,000 industrial jobs have vanished. Inflation has pierced 50%. More than half the population in many parts of the country has fallen into poverty. Oh, this might be all of, what is this, a big master plan by China? To destroy, undermine, and then eventually take over the resources of these countries that is loaned money to. That sounds a lot like what we have. It sounds like a blueprint, doesn't it? What we tend to do around the world. Experts predict that unless China begins to soften its stance on its loans to poor countries, there could be a wave of more defaults and political upheavals. In a lot of the world, the clock has struck midnight. Not great. From Steve Austin, Bionic Man. No one saw this level of devastation coming. Climate crisis worsens in Somalia. This is why I'm radicalized. Several nations in Africa are being hit by some massive flooding going on. These people shouldn't be the collateral damage of the rich world's refusal to do anything meaningful. But we've been talking about this over the last few days. I don't like to see this on the side of these articles, so I'm probably not even going to read it. Yes, climate change is real, but I don't want to see things funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. These people are evil. Please go away. Oops. All right, let's look at this. Getting close to wrapping this up, guys. Maybe just one or two more articles here, and then I will be bidding you a fond adieu. But never fear, we'll be back tomorrow. Real quick, good way to support the show is buymeacoffee.com/BlackPearNews or Cash App, Red Llama Music, or Venmo at Kevin Samblin. These are the most direct, most awesome ways to support the show. But you could also give me super chats on YouTube and also Rockfin tips, greatly appreciated, and Patreon at Black Bear News. Insects are on pace to be completely gone in 100 years, says a new study. Gone. I mean, they're kind of mostly gone right now. A lot of them are gone. We had a bumper crop of mosquitoes this year because we had so much rain. But as I've said many, many times, at least in my yard, the bees have mostly disappeared. June bugs not here anymore. June bugs used to be a thing. Those are gone. A lot of insects that we might otherwise usually have are gone. Insects are on a pace to be completely gone in 100 years, and thus so are we. It's good. It's good that you came to that conclusion. Guardian just picked up a new study from Elsevier Journal Biological Conservation. by researchers at the University of Sydney and the University of Queensland. The world's insects are hurtling down a path to extinction, threatening catastrophic collapse of nature's ecosystems, according to the first global scientific review. More than 40% of insect species are declining, and a third are endangered, the analysis found. The rate of extinction is 8 times faster than that of mammals, birds, and reptiles. The total mass of insects is falling by a precipitous 2.5% a year, according to the best data available, suggesting they could vanish within a century. And we, there's used to kind of follow these articles quite a lot. Haven't really discussed this in a while, but we know this is ongoing. Insect population collapses have recently been reported in Germany and Puerto Rico. The review strongly indicates the crisis is global. The researchers set out the conclusions in unusually forceful terms for a peer-reviewed scientific paper. The insect trends confirm that the 6th major extinction event is profoundly impacting life forms on our planet. Unless, wasn't that from the Lorax? Unless all the trees will be gone. Unless what? Unless we change our ways of producing food, insects as a whole will go down the path of extinction in a few decades. The repercussions this will have for the planet's ecosystems are catastrophic, to say the least. In Puerto Rico, rainforest insects over the last 35 years have lost 98% of their population. That is almost all, if you know what 98% means, on the ground and 80% in the canopy. In Germany, nature reserves have seen a 75% drop in flying insects over the last 25 years, so the researchers cited here are not the only ones saying things like this. In fact, their paper is a compilation of the 73 best studies they could find. The figures they give aren't alarmist, they're a collection of real data. Being alarmist means that you're waving your hands and jumping up and down for not a very good reason. But they're just saying, this is what's going on. Maybe we should be concerned. Tim on Colin says, Fleur Ali just rescued a Maybug out of the water vat in the garden. Related to your June bugs. Tim says alarmist equals you're not on the payroll. You're not towing the company line. The company line says everything's okay. Everything's fine. Yes, Denver, very good point. Insect decline is consistent with UVC radiation blanketing the earth, which we've been covering a little bit. And I meant to talk about that article you sent me too. But I mean, kind of, the article is pretty much saying, yeah, we're experiencing UVC hitting the ground. And that's not good. Oh, this is a related article. Thanks, Denver. China puts Neelam gelum. That's good. It's kind of fun. Hydropower plant project in POK on back burner as bankrupt Pakistan delays payments. So I guess they were going to... The suspension of maintenance and repair work at the Neelam Jhelum hydropower project, which is close to the Muzaffarabad in Pakistan occupied Kashmir. Oh, that's what POK means. Pakistan occupied Kashmir is a prime illustration of this phenomenon, which has now left Pakistan in a fix after the International Monetary Fund refused to show faith in its new debt management plan. So the IMF, this is from, due to lack of interest from China, Pakistan's ambitions to enhance electricity output to address the country's rising power shortfall. There's been a suspension of maintenance and repair work. Wow. Dang. The Water and Power Development Authority of Pakistan started corrective measures once the issue became apparent by contracting, I don't know what that is, China Gazuba Group Company. The Chinese company has since been causing problems for the Pakistani government by repeatedly postponing the repair work. The plant and the Pakistani police's inability to provide reliable protection are also to blame. According to the CGGC, for the local protests in one incident, local protesters forced the Chinese company to halt working and demobilize its staff. Concerns raised by the protesters include unequal distribution of power, royalties, jobs, and environmental harm. Interesting. Okay. All right. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for your eyes, your ears, and your conscience. Thank you for being here every single day. And hanging out with me and getting all the latest on what's going on with the climate around the world and other things as well. But I will see you tomorrow at the regular time of 12 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, and I appreciate y'all, everybody who supports the show. And until next time, peace.